Omar Villafranca joins us now from San Juan. Omar, finally it looks like the relief effort is getting into place. Things are getting done. But what are the biggest challenges now?
The biggest challenges are really on the ground. The military response, they have access, of course, by boat and by air, but by ground is one of the biggest challenges because literally they're having to cut a path to certain places that they're trying to go on the ground. Now, getting a lot of those supplies out of the port is also another issue. Drivers are a big need here in Puerto Rico. People who can help load that stuff onto trucks, and also people who can get those trucks out. The U.S. military has been trying to clear as many roads and also fix as many roads or get them operational as quickly as they can. But that has been a very, very big issue for the U.S. military here. The damage that we have seen, we went to the northeastern part of the island near the El Yunque National Forest, and it was pretty devastating. There was not only damage to the roads and trees, large trees just blocking major parts. There was mudslides. We missed a mudslide, me and the crew, by about 15 minutes. We went up and it was fine. When we were trying to come back down, we were wondering, hey, where did the road go? A mudslide had taken over. Luckily, there was a front loader in front of us, moved everything out of the way. They were trying to go up that particular road because that's where the two FAA towers are. They want to be able to access them. They've cleared 12 miles on one stretch of that road and 1 mile on another, and they still haven't reached both towers. If they can get those towers both operational, that'll help with the airport so they can start sequencing in not only commercial airlines but larger airlines bringing in more relief supplies.
So, Omar, what are the units that you've spent time with say that they need in order to get the job done in a much quicker fashion?
They need the one thing they do not have, and that is time. Time is not on their side at this point. Those Marines that we saw that were cutting down trees, they've been working 4 days. And let me tell you, Marines work very fast. But when it takes a Marine group, a Marine platoon, maybe 4 days just to go a certain amount of miles, that tells you how bad it is in certain parts of the area. Now, we're seeing a lot of pictures of San Juan, but going out into those remote areas, it's an adventure trying to get out there because not only do you have to plan for gas to be able to get back, the roads also, they are not really open. You have to watch for damaged roads, and you really don't know what you're going to see out there. Now, there are still some people who have cleaned up themselves and have tried to clear the road themselves. They're just not going to be effective as the U.S. military.
Yeah, Omar, when you were talking about the roads, it reminded me of what Puerto Rico is like. If you haven't been to Puerto Rico, there are great highways, multiple lane highways, but in the interior, the roads are already pretty small. It's hard to get around on a good day. When you talked about the National Forest, I mean, usually when you're driving up that way, you're just sort of hugging the side of the road to make sure other vehicles can pass, so it doesn't take much to block the road completely. How is the military working with FEMA?
Well, what they're doing is when their units go out and they say maybe find a tree that's blocked with a road that's blocked with the tree or a road that's been washed away, they have satellite comms back at their base that's here in Puerto Rico. Near El Yunque, and what they're doing is communicating with them, and they've set up their own map to basically say this particular road, trees in the way, this particular road damaged, this particular road completely impassable. Then they pass that information on to FEMA, so that way FEMA doesn't take a route that they're not going to be able to go anywhere on. They're basically the people who are trying to clear the way so the trucks with relief can get to these areas. Another thing that they're doing is they're trying to go straight to all of the hospitals and assess their generators. The CBs, basically the civil engineers, are going out there and trying to fix generators just to get the capacity up and going again and assess that. Of course, the people who need the help the most in the hospitals, that is their top priority, but also they want to make sure that they can get towers here open for communication. It's amazing to see. You'll see people pulled over on the side of the road. They'll either be there for gas, water, or because maybe someone picked up a faint signal from a cell phone tower and they're just trying to communicate with people off the island or another side of the island to let them know they're okay.
Omar, finally, we know that the USS Comfort is headed to Puerto Rico. There has been some criticism that it had taken this long for that ship to be deployed, dispatched. What are you hearing about the time frame, and how long does the military expect to be in Puerto Rico?
We're expecting the Comfort to arrive here next week. It's a very large ship, and there's a lot of civilians that are actually on that ship, medical personnel. So it's going to be a welcome sight. As far as it getting here, there's a lot of questions from people here who are saying, how come it wasn't sent earlier? We're trying to find those answers out. But as far as a timetable, I asked one of the colonels, I said, do you have a return ticket home? Do you have other marching orders? He said, no, we are ready to be here indefinitely. This is on the USS Kearsarge, which is just offshore. And what they're doing is they're launching 20 either helicopters or fixed rotor aircraft from that to bring supplies on there. But they're kind of self-sufficient on these very large ships. And when they need resupplying, they go to deeper waters so other ships can refill them, give them more cargo, and then they come closer to shore so they can get the helicopters to move that onto shore. There is no return ticket right now for the sailors and for the Marines. At this point, this is their mission.
Omar Villafranca in San Juan. Omar, thanks so much for the work you're doing. I think it's important for the American people to understand what is happening there and some of the failures that have occurred over the last couple of days and some of the successes. Thank you, Omar.